Hihani washte. Good morning. Chantema washte nape chiuzapi. With a good heart, I give you a hearty handshake. Mitakuyapi, my relatives, brothers and sisters of the four winds. I come to you today from the deep grassroots of my Lakota homelands, the vast prairie grasslands that lay in the sunset shadow of the majestic Chesapa, our Black Hills, the heart of everything that is. It was in these mountains at Wind Cave that my Lakota ancestors emerged upon the earth, found their genesis as humankind, and moved forth to people the Great Plains and become the Ocheti Shakoi, the seven sacred council fires of the great Lakota Oyate, the nation. It is there on the banks of the Missouri River, 5 miles from where I now reside, that I came to earth. And it is the birthplace of my father, Frank Duchenaux, and my mother, Ellen Claymore Duchenaux. It is motherland to my grandmothers, Tashina, good ground woman, red-white buffalo woman, and iron cedar woman. And to my grandfathers, red flying, hit on leg, and crow feather, principal chief of the Itazipcho Lakota, and uncle to legendary Oglala chief Red Cloud. My people roamed these lands for untold millennium, following Tatanka, the buffalo, and a sacred path that is written in the stars. Their observations of the sun as it traveled through certain constellations, which have correlation to certain sacred sites on earth, told them what to do, where to do it, and when. At certain times of the year, we still make pilgrimage to these sites to make offerings of thanksgiving, to honor creation, and through spiritual instruction to learn the teachings of the universe. There we make ceremonies that reestablish our connection to the earth and that oneness that is Tunkashila Wakantaka, Grandfather, Great Spirit, Creator of all. Ancient prophecies tell us that at the beginning, the Great Spirit sent the 4 sacred colors of man to the 4 directions, and to each he gave a responsibility over the 4 sacred elements, earth, water, wind, and fire. To the Oyate Shah, the Red Nations, he gave the guardianship of the earth. We were to learn the teachings of the earth so that when we came back together with the other sisters and brothers, we could share this knowledge with them. Something good would happen upon the earth. For generations, as true Lakota children, we listened well to the teachings of our sacred Mother Earth, ever vigilant to maintain the harmony and balance necessary for the peaceful existence of mankind and the environmental integrity of the earth. We never took more than needed and always gave back in good measure. Now we have reached an age where we, like prodigal children, have become indifferent to the needs of our sacred mother. Through our reckless, wasteful, and disrespectful use of her precious waters, we are tainting and draining her life blood. We have dammed her mighty waters, obstructing and altering vital flow in major arteries. We have completely and wholly interrupted the hydrologic cycle that is vital to the replenishment of fresh water sources and necessary to the sustainability of the ecosystem. We are not only destroying the Earth's regenerative powers, but in essence, signing our own death warrant, for pure water is necessary to all life, and all life is necessary to the balance that allows human existence. These times were foretold in 1932 by Oglala Lakota John Hollahorn, who cautioned, "Someday the earth will weep. She will beg for her life. She will cry with tears of blood. You will make a choice, if you will help her or let her die. And when she dies, you too will die." Yet we are heedless of our mother's cries and blind to her suffering. We keep on taking, and she, like any good mother, keeps on giving. How long can this go on? How long before our loving mother must yield to total destruction or see to her own needs and allow ours? Our spiritual elders, our elders and spiritual leaders tell us that that time is now. We are at a crossroads. Either we unite spiritually and live within the boundaries taught to us by our sacred mother, or we face global disaster, chaos, and endless tears from our relatives' eyes. These predictions of man-made disasters, catastrophic earth changes, and looming apocalypse are now being echoed by scientists throughout the world. Environmental experts warn that unless humanity radically alters its course, we will pass an ecological tipping point that will make human extinction inevitable. Some estimate that our clean water resources could completely disappear within the next decade. To the Lakota, water is sacred, mini wakan. It is our first home. We come to life in a sea of water in our mother's womb. It is our first medicine, our first taste administered by our grandmothers at our birth. As Lakota, we know that water is life, miniwi choni. This is something we have known since we first uttered words, and it is evident in our language. Mini, me, I, ni, live. Mini, I live, we live. We all need water to live. It is only from liquid water that all known forms of life exist. The water cycle is the life cycle. As Lakota, we understand that the water we drink today has been around since creation and will be here until the end of time. Our origin stories tell us that in the beginning there was Ea, the rock, who had no beginning. Ea was all-powerful and desired others so that he might exercise his powers. So he took a part of himself and made Maka, the earth. In creating her, he took so much of himself that his veins opened and all his blood flowed from him. His blood was blue, and it became the waters which are upon the earth. Water holds the life force of the world, and the river is the lifeblood of the ecosystem. It carries nutrients that are vital to the health of the entire ecosystem. We need healthy rivers for drinking water, natural flood protection, economy, and quality of life. Only 3% of the Earth's water is fresh water, and much of that, through disrespectful, greedy, and wanton use, has been polluted beyond healthy human consumption. On Cheyenne River, and amongst other Lakota tribes, there are elevated cases of normally rare diseases such as cancer, lupus, heart anomalies, rheumatoid arthritis, etc., on and on and on, which have been linked to the deadly toxins in our waters. In Zintgalaluzaha, Swiftbird, the small federal housing cluster where I live on the east end of our reservation, we have a population of less than 150, yet we have 3 known cases of lupus. In my family, 2 of my siblings have grandchildren who were born with holes in their hearts. We do not need government statistics to know we have a problem. Cheyenne River clean water sources have also been destroyed through poor water management, most significantly the damming of the Missouri River at the Oyate Dam. The Oyate destroyed more tribal lands than any other public works project in America. About 90% of the timberland on Standing Rock, the reservation above us, and Cheyenne River reservations, as well as the most valuable rangeland, most of the gardens and cultivated areas, and the wild fruit and wildlife resources. And it destroyed our ability to make a livelihood from the land and live our Lakota way of life. It was a blatant act of genocide. To clear the way for the floodwaters created by the Oyate Dam, our lands were condemned by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers through the eminent domain process, and our leaders were forced into negotiations to make the best deal possible for the people. We must pack our ancestors' bones and move up to the flats. My father, Frank Duchenaux, chairman and lead negotiator for the tribe, began the negotiation talks on a somber note. "This is not a happy occasion," he said. "We are here to participate in the gutting of our reservation. This dam and the 5 others built along its 2,300-mile course flooded 155,000 acres of the most fertile tribal farmlands in the Great Plains. On Cheyenne River, we can see from our windows the devastating effects that this move had on the earth, our lands, and our people. We have witnessed the decline of our people as they sink into relentless poverty. We watch with sadness and trepidation as our Earth Mother struggles to survive the destruction. We see our once lush grasslands turned into lifeless, barren desert before our eyes. Our rivers and creeks turn to dust. We fear for our water safety and security presently and for our future generations. We are taught we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. We therefore try to think 7 generations ahead. I want my granddaughters, the twins, Makbia Washtewi, beautiful cloud woman, and Wichakbi Itaui, comes from the stars woman, to live to see their great-grandchildren, and for their great-grandchildren to see their great-grandchildren. I want them to have pure water to drink, healthy food to eat, and a safe environment in which to live. I want them to know the earth as my ancestors did. Midakoyapi, my relatives, I come to you today in the most sincere and humble manner to ask you to take immediate action. We are at a perilous time in human history. The future of humanity upon earth hangs in the balance. We can bring the world back into balance and avoid catastrophic changes, but it will take a global movement, and eventually all of humanity must be involved. We must return the moisture to the lands, repair the world water cycle, and restore the biodiversity to the ecosystem. What we propose as Mini is to unite the indigenous nations of the Western Hemisphere in water protection and restoration. As caretakers of the earth, we must take the lead in turning back the powers of destruction and returning to the earth to balance and pre-invasion splendor. We must show the rest of the world how to live in peace and harmony with all of existence. We must unite with our brothers of the South, whose prophecies foretell of these times, when the two human societies, the eagle of the North and the condor of the South, reunite and fly in the same sky. They will have the potential to create a new level of consciousness. They can connect with wisdom from the mists of time to achieve healing upon the earth. With the indigenous nations, there is great potential for large-scale rehabilitation and water restoration. We are sovereign nations. Many with large land holdings are vast territories. Many have loose or non-existent water use management laws or regulations. And we have our original instructions. With indigenous lands and restoration, we could not only have a huge impact on repairing the world water cycle, but we can set an example for the rest of the world. Again, it will not be easy. We will face much opposition. The same forces that are destroying the planet do not want us to succeed. We cannot do it alone, and eventually all of mankind must participate in order to maintain the balance. We have another prophecy of the Rainbow Nation, which tells of all races or colors of man that will unite to end the destruction and bring harmony, stability, and prosperity back to the earth. So it is therefore, with that in mind, that I come to you and ask you to join us, Mini, to help us to achieve our vision. Right now, we are looking at, on our lands, water restoration through rainwater harvest. And we are looking at bringing savory people in to begin holistic management and planned grazing upon our lands to accelerate the process of restoring these lands. And last summer, we had a water restoration training camp at my Tioshpai, my extended family, upon our lands, Tatanka Wakpala. And we brought people from all over to learn, to begin the work of water restoration. And we also established a base camp from which to do further restoration work on our reservation and wherever people are of that mind. And now we are focusing what we learned last summer, and what I learned is that it will take a spiritual movement to save the planet, to save the earth, to save humanity. And it's going to take work. We're all going to have to become involved. And so we're focusing our work on bringing volunteers to our lands to begin that work and to make those things happen. So we ask you to join us and to support us in our methods, because our goal is to save the world for all of humanity, for my grandchildren and for your grandchildren. And so I would like to leave you with the words of our spiritual leader, the keeper of our most sacred object, the sacred white buffalo calf pipe. And he tells us that on your decision, yes, on your own personal decision, depends the fate of the world. You can't avoid it. You must decide. You personally, each of us personally, is put here in this time and this place to personally decide the future of humankind. Did you think that you were put here for something less? So, Washte, pila mayaye, wopila. Thank you.